Hello students, welcome to the academia. Today I will discuss an important tissue which is called muscular tissue. Generally we know among the four tissues, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and nervous, the muscular tissue is very important. So what is muscle tissue? Muscle tissues are composed of cells. Basically, as these are tissues, so obviously they are made up of cells that are highly specialized. And they are a bit different from the normal cells. And what is the function of muscular tissue? Contract and relax. So the cells having the speciality to shorten in length by contractility. Okay? And the cells are named as myocytes. So myocytes are the muscle cells. The muscle cells are also known as muscle fiber. Because they are some elongated kind of structure. Now moving to the types of muscles. The number one type is skeletal muscle. Number two, smooth muscle. And number three, cardiac muscle. So, skeletal muscle, the muscle which is joined with our skeleton, which are also known as voluntary muscle. These muscles we can control according to our wish. The skeletal muscles often having striations, so they are called striated muscle. The smooth muscle, whereas, are not in our control, so we can say that these are involuntary in nature and they are non-striated. We cannot see any kind of striation under the microscope, whereas the cardiac muscle is also involuntary in nature striated. We can see striation under microscope and branched. The smooth muscle is also known as visceral muscle. As maximum of the muscles are present in our viscera. Now one by one we will go through the characteristics of the muscles. So this is the diagram of the skeletal muscle which we found under microscope. Under the microscopic observation, the muscles shown some cross striations, that is the lines which we can find out in the muscle which are known as striations. Basically, the skeletal muscle is present in limbs. Their cells are elongated, cylindrical and multinucleated. They varies in length from a few millimeter to few centimeter. And in the cross striation, there are alternate dark and light bands. Now, what are these? The dark bands and light bands are nothing but the accumulation of muscle proteins, that is myosin and actin. Mostly originate from the somatic mesoderm. The skeletal muscle basic unit is long and cylindrical in nature. Now, in this diagram, we can see the whole muscle bulk. So this is the whole muscle, generally what we see, the whole muscle, and we found here that the whole muscle is made up of different bundles, and each bundle covering is called perimysium. The whole covering is called epimysium, and each bundle covering is perimysium, and then perimysium is also made up of many bundles, and their covering is known as endomysium. Surrounding the endomysium, the muscle fibers are present. So this is about the whole muscle bulk. Generally, epimysium is the entire muscle covering, perimysium is the bundles of muscle fibers, and endomysium is the individual muscle fiber covering. In the skeletal muscle, the fibers, and I have told before that why they are called fibers, because they are elongated in nature. The structure is like this so that they can easily help in the contraction relaxation process. So they are elongated in nature. So this is elongated single muscle fiber. So this is the single muscle fiber. So the single muscle fiber, if I see a single muscle fiber, because these are the muscle fibers, and when we see a single muscle fiber, then what we found, the single muscle fiber is made up of many myofibrils. So single muscle fiber is made up of many myofibrils. In a muscle fiber, there are many myofibrils, and when you consider the structure of a single myofibril, then what are the bands we can found? Generally, overall the bands are called dark band and light band, and it is due to the deposition of actin protein, myosin protein. Now, in the next diagram, we can explain the bands. So, in this diagram, we can see the whole distribution of the bands present in the muscle. The myofibrils which are present in the muscle cell, they are the contractile elements. The myofilaments contain thick and thin bands, and the thick band is called myosin and thin is actin filament. The arrangement of thick band and thin band is continuous in the whole muscle fiber. It is repeated in nature. The thick band is known as A band and the thin band is known as I band. The two Z lines we can see. Between the two Z line, the area is known as sarcomere. So during the contraction phase, the sarcomere shortens as the muscle contracts, and when the muscle relaxes, again the sarcomere extends. The skeletal muscle is provided by both motor nerve supply and sensory nerve supply. So this diagram is very important regarding the bands of the muscle. Now in the functions of skeletal muscle, basically they bring about the coordinated movements of the limbs, trunk, jaws, eyeballs, etc. etc. And the skeletal muscles are directly involved in the breathing process. Not only that, the skeletal muscle have a lot of important activities in our body. They help us to run, to walk, to talk, to move, and their movements are under in our control. So that's why they are known as voluntary muscle. Now moving to the smooth muscles or visceral muscles or involuntary muscles. So the smooth muscles are found in the hollow organs and blood vessels basically, and like the skeletal muscles, smooth muscles also have the muscle fibers, but the fibers are elongated and they are spindle shaped like this, having the nuclei. So they are the spindle shaped fiber having nuclei, whereas in case of skeletal muscle we have seen elongated fibers which make bundles, and in skeletal muscle there were multiple nuclei, but here in smooth muscle there is single nuclei in a fiber. Each cell, muscle cell, is filled with specialized cytoplasm, and this cytoplasm is called sarcoplasm, which is also present in skeletal muscle. Sarcoplasm is also present in skeletal muscle as well as in smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. The smooth muscles contain the contractile proteins like actin and myosin, but they are not arranged in the regular cross-striated pattern as we have seen in the skeletal muscle fiber in the diagram of that. So here we cannot see any kind of arrangement, and that's why the striation is absent. The striation is absent, but not the proteins are absent. The proteins are present, the filaments are present, but they are not arranged like the skeletal muscle, and that's why we do not see the striations. And the smooth muscle fibers are involuntary in nature, and they are under the autonomic nervous system and hormonal control. So in the diagram next of the smooth muscle, we see how the fibers are arranged, how they are present, and they form the muscle. Next, moving to the functions of the smooth muscle fiber. The smooth muscle controls are slow. Involuntary movements such as the contraction of the tissues of the stomach, intestine, that is the GIT, are done. The muscle of the arteries contract and relax to regulate the blood pressure and the flow of blood. So these are the very important functions of the smooth muscle. The smooth muscles are 30 micron in length, 200 to 500 micron length in pregnancy. And these are the functions of the smooth muscles. In our next video, I will go through the structure function of cardiac muscle, which is one of the most important muscle of our body. In today's video, we end in here, that is skeletal and smooth muscle. If you people have any query and question, you can ask or can comment in the comment box. Thank you.